Hey everybody, it's Galmanex, and welcome back to another major flashback draft here, where we're going to be drafting some more Amonkhet Remastered. This is a video recorded way in the past, as I am on vacation these next couple weeks. So without further ado, let's hop back into the Amonkhet Remastered format. Really cool format with a bunch of Egyptian mythology and Bolas themed stuff. So for our pack one, pick one, we've got an incredible mythic rare, and there's really no reason not to take it here. It is a 6 mana 4/4 flyer that also does little mini factor fiction, where the top four cards of your library get split up into two piles by your opponent, and you get to draw one of those two piles. So 6 mana 4/4 flyer, pretty much a draw two at least every time you play it. Absurd piece of card advantage and giant threat at the same time. Great card, but all these uncommons are also nice. Cast out for the best removal. Doomfall for kind of flexible removal. You can also rip something out of your opponent's hand. And Catcher's Monument plays really well in the aggressive white decks too, spitting out a 1/1 token every time you cast a creature. Can flood out the board pretty quick. Pick two now. We've got Gustwalker and Fanbearer out of white, two incredible commons. The Fanbearer really nice whether you're on the aggressive or the defensive. It's got a great ability for that. And then the Gustwalker is super good on the aggressive, where you can exert it to jump over your opponent's board and get your damage in even when things get cluttered up. The blue-white archetype in this format is about embalming and eternalizing a bunch of cards from your graveyard, which is basically like flashback for creatures, where you spend a mana cost, exile it from grave, and get a token copy of it. So I think those decks tend to play a little bit more towards the longer game, where Fanbearer can play a little better. But yeah, what's so nice about the Fanbearer is it plays excellently either way. Um, but yeah, I think a little less aggressive to where Fanbearer might be a tiny bit better than Gustwalker, but again, both of those would be really strong, and I think they're the strongest cards in the pack here. There's a final reward, which is good removal, but a little inefficient, a little expensive. That's kind of the only card in contention. Pick number three, this blue-white rare doesn't do much, but it's got a really cool mechanic, the Aftermath mechanic, another flashback style mechanic as you have in these graveyard-focused sets. This one lets you cast the front half of the card, and then you can cast the second half of the card from your graveyard. That said, failure to comply here, not one of the best Aftermath cards or just cards in general. What is one of the best cards is just Gustwalker, one of the best commons in the set. Great, aggressive, cheap card. Already spoke my piece on that, and I've already got the Fanbearer towards white, so I like getting a little deeper towards that potential blue-white embalm deck with Gustwalker here. So let's grab that. Pick number four. Don't mind if I do take another Gustwalker. Some other great cards in this pack. We have the Desert of the Glorified. Pretty excellent to have some lands that you can cycle if you're top decking them in the late game. And there's also good synergies for the card. There are cards that care about the deserts that you have on board or the deserts that you have in graveyard. That works great with these cycling deserts. And there are cards that care about every time that you cycle or discard a card, which obviously plays well with cards with the cycle mechanics. So these cards are great. They're really high picks here to where, honestly, I think that's the second best card in the pack. Maybe third best. Start to finish, probably a little bit better. But I would take Desert of the Glorified over Final Reward early. Pick number five. Now we have a second Fanbearer. I like that a lot. Two Fanbearer, two Gustwalker here. Get really deep into white. I would really like to play blue with Unesh, but if the white continues to be much more powerful than the blue, we can stay just really, really glued to white so that if blue gets super cut, we do still have other choices for our secondary color. Pick number six. I mean, Countervailing Winds is a super, super fine, super solid counterspell in the format. I don't want to just like completely write that off. It's just been in packs with even better white cards. And Sacred Cat would usually be a little bit weaker than Countervailing Winds. But if we do end up in blue, white, and bomb, I think Cat will be actually a little bit better because there are some cards that really, really benefit from getting recast and embalmed. There's something that lets you draw a card every time you embalm somebody. That's great with the Sacred Cat. And there are things that like give all of your tokens +1/+1 or flying and vigilance. There's a lot of really good synergies for Sacred Cat. Pick seven, Winds of Rebuke, actually pretty nice for the blue, white, and bomb archetype, because it's an efficient bounce spell that also mills each player a couple cards, which could put some of your bomb creatures like the Sacred Cat into the grave. So I think Winds is pretty good for blue, white to where I can take the blue spell this time around. Pick eight, Desert of the True. Already spoke my piece on the deserts. I like to take these pretty highly to where I will take it over Countervailing Winds by a little tiny bit. Pick number 9. I'm not a huge fan of Avon or Caravan, but Avon does play quite well if you curve into it after playing a 2-mana Exert creature. Exert means that that creature's not going to untap in your next untap step, but you can attack and exert with it and then untap it in an unnatural way with something like Dauntless Haven. So you can just keep exerting it every single turn. So Gustwalker into Dauntless Haven's a really scary curve. The issue is that there's a lot of really good removal in this format for 1 toughness creatures. That's what I don't like about Dauntless Haven. There are -1/-1 counters in the format instead of +1/+1 counters. This card plays really poorly against -1/-1 counters because it dies after a single -1/-1 counter is put onto it. It's also part of what makes Fanbearer really nice. Being a 1/2 to just dodge those -1/-1 counters is pretty nice. There's a particularly brutal card for Dauntless Haven called I forgot its name. It's 2 and a black, and you put a -1/-1 counter onto up to 2 creatures, split up however you want it. That card is really nasty against the Aven because you get to kill the Aven and put a -1/-1 counter somewhere else. All right, pack 2, pick 1. What do we have here? I do like Anointer Priest in this archetype, but certainly not enough to take it over a great trial like the Trial of Knowledge. All of the trials are really solid. The weakest is the white one by a little bit that just like buffs the whole board, but any of them that give you any kind of 1/1 removal or card advantage are great, and most of them do that. So this one is draw 3, discard 1, and then whenever you play a cartouche, which is the auras in this format, you pick it up and get to recast it again. So 4 mana, draw 3, discard 1, play a cartouche, pick it up, do it all over again. You get way, way ahead in card advantage if you can cartouche this back to your hand, and the same is true for most of them. Because like the red one and the black one are just great removal spells that then you play your cartouche aura, pick it up, and boom, now you play another removal spell again, clear out another blocker. Great stuff. Speaking of great stuff, Pull from Tomorrow is an excellent card draw spell. Double blue and X, draw X cards. You do have to discard one when you cast this, but when you're going to be waiting to cast this till you can draw 4 or 5 cards anyway, you'll definitely have something expendable to discard, if not just an extra land. At that point, when you have 6 or 7 mana, then maybe some Embalmer like an Anointer Priest. So Pull from Tomorrow is spectacular. Can't really pass that. Pick number 3, solid cheap removal with Unquenchable Thirst. As long as you have a desert on board or engrave, this taps something and keeps it tapped down. Cryptic Serpent's really fun if you're the blue-red spells deck or the blue-black cycling deck. It could still be okay here in blue-white, but our instant sorcery count isn't going to get that much higher than it already is, which is like 4, maybe 5. I've already got one of my non-creature cards being taken up by an enchantment in that spell slot, and we're going to take another enchantment here with Unquenchable Thirst, so not the easiest to make the Serpent particularly small in blue-white. Because again, your non-creature slots can be some enchantments and stuff, and you tend to be a pretty creature-heavy deck because you want to have a bunch of embalming stuff to get back from the grave. But blue-red, though, you get to really focus up on casting a million instants and sorceries and putting a bunch of those in your graveyard. And blue-black, you get to play a bunch of cycling cards. So you play a bunch of cycling instants and sorceries, so you'll end up with a lot in your grave just by cycling over and over and over again. Pick 4, Censor's a really nice counterspell. It's an efficient counterspell early in the game that you can cycle later when it's no longer relevant, so I like that better than a 3rd copy of Winds of Rebuke for sure. Pick number 5, another Striped Riverwinder, is a solid top-end spell. The next best cards in this pack are easily the Deserts, but they're both off-color, so I don't really care. Pick number 6, beautiful Embalmer here with Labyrinth Guardian, a 2-mana 2/3 that we flash back for 4 as a 4-mana 2/3. Really good card. It does die anytime it's the target of a spell, period, which is relevant basically whenever your opponent has the thing that they can put a -1/-1 counter on 2 creatures. Otherwise, if they're targeting it with the spell, 9 times out of 10, that was going to be a removal spell anyway. Ooh, Farm to Market, let's go. Solid, efficient removal spell. 3 mana to destroy an attacking or blocking creature is okay, but the fact that it has Market attached and can get you out of some late game mana flood is really nice. We haven't actually found any strict synergies for our embalm cards yet, so I don't really mind that I only have 2 cards that actually embalm. Right now I'm just blue-white good spells in the deck. If we do find any of the signpost uncommons, I will be pretty sad that I don't have that much embalm going on, because there's one of them that gives all your creature tokens, flying and vigilance. Obviously, all the embalmed cards become creature tokens. There's one of them that lets you draw a card every time you're doing it. I'd be sad um, if I didn't have a bunch of them to go with that. Although that card would still be really good, because if you just put like a cat in your grave and then play it, draw a card, it's still like a good deal. Ooh, another Desert of the True. Love that here. Aerial Guide is fine, but I want some more deserts here to go with our Unquenchable Thirst, and just because they're solid cards in the first place. Here we go. We're willing the Anointer Priests, so we'll find a few Embalmers if we find the cards that really care about them. Alright, we only wheeled one Anointer Priest. I think it was 2 packs in a row that they showed up in. I'm just going to hold down that Alt key, see how much I own of everything, and start rare drafting. Yeah, Those Who Serve is very filler, but it is playable. If we don't get enough playables here, we're currently at 20 non-land cards because I have 2 Desert of the True, so it is possible we'll end up running that if pack 3 goes really badly. So far so good though. We can grab a Censor here. I'm not the most excited about Trial of Solidarity here because we're not super good at getting a wide board state. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 creatures total right now, none of which produce any tokens. They just, at most, come back later. We're not a great Trial of Solidarity deck. This is the weakest trial. Pretty much every other trial I would just take no matter what if I'm on color, but it's the only one you actually have to consider the way that your deck looks a bit, because it's just a board buff effect instead of card draw or removal, or the green one's just an efficient creature, a 3 mana 4/2 you can then recast and get more creatures off of later. Pack 3, pick 2. With the Trial of Knowledge in the deck, I am quite high on the Cartouche here, so let's grab Cartouche of Knowledge to pick it up. This Cartouche is also just solid by itself. Most of them are, but especially this one. +1/+1 flying and draw a card when you play it, so it pays for itself in the card economy. Here's a Shimmer Scale Drake, I guess. Looks like a pretty mediocre pack 3 for us, sadly. How many non-land playables do we have? We have 23 of them. We have 23 of them. I don't think a second Countervailing Winds improves the deck all that much. I've already got double Censor, 1 Countervailing Winds, and I've got a lot of non-creature spells. Ideally looking for more creatures. So I'm going to go for the Desert of the Mindful here, which just 100% guaranteed makes the cut and improves the deck. And we'll do the same with a Desert of the True. Unless I'm going to try to more consistently go Gustwalker into Avon. But I think I'm becoming pretty controlly here with the lower creature count. We'll just play these to force our opponent to use some removal and maybe grind out the game by blocking things and tapping things, and then just try to win off with big finishers in the late game while we, counter stuff and bounce stuff and slow them down. Pick 6. Alright, if New Rivulet gives us a win condition against really grindy decks, we just mill them out. I like that over Compulsory Rest by a tiny bit. Pick number 7. Yeah. Bunch of stuff. Naga Oracle's probably better than Those Who Serve. Here's Hieroglyphic Illumination, random draw spell. So we get some choices for what to cut now in the end instead of having to run all of the filler. Trial of Solidarity Wield. I still don't think it's good at all in this deck. Heckman Sentinels is not great, though. Honestly, it's probably slightly worse than Those Who Serve, even, so. Worst, I'm rare drafting that trial for Vault Progress. Yeah, another Heckman Sentinel still. If I really cared about that, which I don't think I do. Well, not a big fan of how the last pack went here. We just got an entire pack of filler, basically. Just kind of a bummer. But first pack, we got a bunch of great white spells, and then it just dried up entirely. Pack 2, we got the Great Blue Rare. I don't know. Awkward draft here. We have a fine deck. I mean, this is a solid, average deck for the format. But it was shaping up to be pretty fantastic by the end of pack 1, and just the next two packs just felt considerably weaker. Especially pack 3. That one was quite the miss for us overall. So not super pumped about this deck, but it should be more than capable of a solid average run here. $44 cards. We get to cut 4 non-land spells. Not very pumped about those who serve in Heckma Sentinels. I think those are the worst creatures in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Still 14 creatures. It's decent. That's plenty. And then 2 spells get cut here. Got Trial of Knowledge and Pull from Tomorrow and Unesh for huge card draw, so the kind of smaller dedicated card draw I think can get cut. Get rid of the Illumination, and then probably one of the 2 Winds of Rebuke is fine. And that puts us to 40 cards here. Yeah, looks like a solid deck. Maybe a little high on lands, but I get to, I'm flooding out, discard some to market, draw some non-lands. Trial of Knowledge is draw 3, discard a land, draw X, discard a land. As long as we hit every land drop, we can play some big card draw later to get our way through Flood. I like this. 15 blue cards and 9 white, but all of our cheap creatures are white, so I still want to be really, really even on our colors here so that I have access to that white mana early consistently. So currently we're on 9 blue sources, 8 white sources. Yeah, if we have to lean towards one color, having 6 more blue spells than white spells does make me lean towards blue slightly more, even with the white one drops. But definitely at least an 8 white source deck here. Yeah. Fine auto-suggester on the mana base here. We will call it a deck there and hop into the gameplay. Alright, here we are on the draw for game 1. This is not a great hand. I think it's right on that borderline where I still want to keep it, though. So we can play a Labyrinth Guardian on 2, which is a pretty good start. We have an Unquenchable Thirst for one of their threats. Ideally, we'll find a Desert for this, but even if we don't, it can keep something tapped that has already attacked and tapped itself. The big issue here is that we really only have 2 castable spells right now, because I can't Cartouche of Knowledge a Labyrinth Guardian. That would be targeting it with a spell, and it would get sacrificed. And then obviously I don't have white mana for the Aven yet. But I'm taking a bit of a gamble on this one. I think the cards are strong enough to be worth it, because the nice thing about Guardian is it's kind of a 2-drop and a 4-drop. So the plan can be like Guardian on 2, Thirst on 3, Guardian on 4. If they have the interaction to get this out of the way, or if we can trade it off. Alright, opponent fails to show up so far, so we just play an island and see if they make it back in time, I guess. Our first draw this game was really good. Countervailing Winds, making sure that we have another play. If I don't end up with anything engraved, like if they don't kill the Labyrinth Guardian or counter the Thirst or anything, Countervailing Winds can just get cycled. The kind of card that makes sure that it's always useful. We did draw Plains, so the hand has worked out perfectly now. We can play Labyrinth Guardian into Dauntless Haven and go from there. Okay. Trial of Knowledge, also very, very nice here. We have the Cartouche for it. So that's going to put us way ahead in cards later. We're playing against blue-black, which is kind of the cycling deck in the format. If they're going for full synergy. But they could also just be like a solid controlling deck. There's a lot of good counters in blue, removal spells in black. They could just be like a raw card quality kind of control deck. Here's Dauntless Haven. Cycle of Floodwaters, draw a card. That makes it a little more likely they're on the cycling plan, at least a little bit. Splendid Agony, yep. That is the one card in the format that I talked about being like the one thing that's pretty good against Guardians, so rough to immediately run into it in our very first game. Here's Trial of Knowledge. Yeah, I'll ditch an extra land here. That's actually the one card that I listed as being really good against Labyrinth Guardian, and the one card I listed as being really good against Aven, so it sucked that we had both of them that game when they had the Splendid Agony. To just get insane value there. Okay. Got 3 cards in Grave. This is a reasonable opportunity to hold up Countervailing Winds here. Baleful Omit. Yeah. 4/3 lifelink. I have no other removal on board, so let's go for the counter. That'd be a 4/3 lifelink because they can just put the -1/-1 counter on the Vizier, and then this has no downside. Doomed Dissenter. Sure. I'm going to go ahead and cast Cartouche of Knowledge while they're tapped out here. Because if they respond by destroying whatever we try to... should have put that in Grave. If they respond by destroying whatever we target with Cartouche before the Cartouche resolves, then the Trial doesn't go back to hand either, because Trial triggers when the Cartouche enters. And obviously if you destroy the creature that's getting targeted by an aura, the aura never has a chance to enter the battlefield. It's one of the best ways to stop the Cartouche plus Trial combos. Our deck's doing its job here. It's getting massive value off these bombers. I'm going to be able to Trial of Knowledge just discarding a Sacred Cat here. Ooh, Ruthless Sniper is disgusting in the cycling deck. Every cycle card turns into put a -1/-1 counter on the board plus draw a card. Luckily, I've got a 5 toughness card out right now, so the -1/-1 counters are not particularly painful yet. But they kind of stop me from, like, embalming these cats anytime soon. Land, Unesh. Cool. I like me an Unesh. I kind of doubt Censor is going to be relevant. They only have 1 card in their hand and they have 6 mana up. It's like the most likely way that it would be relevant would be that they have like a 3 mana card in hand that maybe they like draw off of this cycle. And then they also draw a 3 mana card for the turn, right? Where they go 3-drop and then I can censor the second 3-drop. It's pretty unlikely they have like a 6-drop in hand. But I guess they've got Riverwinders, so they could have like land plus a second Riverwinder off the top. I'm just going to play the Gustwalker while they're tapped out. I don't think Censor is likely to do anything this turn. If it were a hard counterspell, I'd hold it up here. We can't block there because they just cycle one card and then beat the Gust Walker without even losing a creature. Gravedigger on the Baleful Ommet is the play. Play an island, and then they play the Ommet. The Scorpion attack was a bluff, dang. Second Censor. Going for the kill in the sky. Both those creatures are great, so I assume they split them up. I thought it was going to be one desert and a creature, one desert and a creature here. I guess Fanbear is the only one I can cast immediately. But choose the big pile. They're playing off the top here. It is possible they don't draw a card to cycle and kill a cat here. I guess it's probably better to just hold up Sacred Cat though and then cycle a desert if I don't. Or hold up Censor and then cycle a desert if I don't. Censor something. This 4-power lifelinker is an issue. I might have to hold up just a double block on it because I don't want to lose Unesh to that. Yeah. Once I get the 5/5 hexproof, I'm good. I got a 5/5 that they can't target with anything, and I can just block. Oops. Lifelinks off the board. Ooh, Winds of Rebuke. I'm going to start playing these deserts so I can mill them out instead of me. I have 4 deserts total. I can mill them 16. We can definitely have them mill out first. A mana off from Riverwinder plus hold up Censor. Well, I can Riverwinder and play a cat. That's also fine. If Auto Tapper stops being dumb. God Pharaoh's Gift. Alright, it doesn't matter if I hold up Censor because they had the extra land there. Unless they played it in that sequence, but I highly doubt they would have if I had mana up here. There would be no reason not to go land first, then try to play God Pharaoh's Gift. Yeah, that's a huge problem. I mean, it only gives them a 4/4 every turn, and I have a 5/5. So I just hold the 5/5 up, make sure I have like infinite blockers here. Probably get the Anointer Priest down too. And that'll gain me more life, and every time I'm embalming things and getting more chumpers, I'm getting more life. I want to have 3 mana up here. I want 1, a blue, and the Rivulet up, which means I have 3 mana to play around with. I can spend 1 on Cat, still have 2 up for Winds of Rebuke, and use the Rivulet this turn, so that's going to be the play. I think we still win this through a God Pharaoh's Gift. This shouldn't be the end of the world. With a 5/5 blocker that they cannot target with any removal. They just can't break through it. I remember the set better, I would know what they're trying to do here. I guess they're probably just filling it in the grave for the God Pharaoh's gift. Yeah, I got enough life gain, I'll just take it then. Instead of letting that happen. Another Doom Dissenter, sure. We are still blocking the 4/4s all day long. I have a blue 1 in Rivulet up as well as a blue and 1 for wins. Just don't play Fanbearer this turn. Sure. It's gonna be 3 swings to kill them whether or not I exert the Gustwalker. If I had been exerting Gustwalker earlier, I could have gotten the kill faster here, but hey. I also got the mill strat. Gravedigger's pretty good. So I can actually cast the... Wait, what? That's entirely just for cycling in their deck? Okay. I was gonna say, wait, wait a second. There's no forests on board. Why the sandworm? I guess because they can make our flyer smaller. I mean, they're just as likely to die to the mill here, though. So we're super fine with not killing them in the sky. Sure, have your 4/4. Still chilling, still vibing, not really worried. Go to 17. $11 cards left over there. We have all the mill we need to completely end this within 2 turns. I'm definitely not casting Pull from tomorrow, though. All in on the mill strat now. Because it ends the game right now. We mill 8 from Rivulet, 4 now, 4 during our next turn, and 2 from Rebuke. So we mill the entire deck here before their next draw step. Striped Riverwinder MVP holding off this God Pharaoh's gift. It's been monumental for this game. But Rivulet also MVP. Because that is the card that is actually going to get the kill here in the end. 6 cards left. 4 cards left. And 0 cards left. And we pass. That is 1-0 heading into game number 2. Awkward mana here, but I get to start with a Fanbear and cycle towards my blue for Unesh. I mean, I don't need the blue till like turn 5. We just start cycling Deserts of the True. Not a super good hand, but I think it is borderline keepable, and I'm gonna keep it. Ooh. Start with a kitty cat? Yeah. Black-white deck from our opponent. Pretty great archetype in the format. Black-white mummies, black-white zombies. Incredibly popular archetype, that's for sure. Steward of Solidarity is an incredible card. Spits out a 1/1 every other turn. It's a whole army and a cannon. It's never going to declare an attack or a block, so we can't ever kill it with Farm to Market. That's rough. I'm gonna go land Cycle Desert here. Play a Fan Bearer of their own. Cycle. More blue spells. There's a Reveal It. Guardian plus Fan Bearer. Lord of the Accursed. Really nice in the zombies deck. +1/+1 to all zombies over there. Can farm to market or tap somebody or cycle a Drake if I hold all the mana up. So I don't think I'm playing Gustwalker. It's a 3/2 flyer with Lord. I am 1 mana away from playing this as a 3/4 flyer and just holding the bat off of us, so I think I'm just tapping the bat this turn. Perfect. Now they're going to have to Fan Bearer down my flyer. They can also activate Lord of the Accursed. They can spend 2 tap and give menace to the zombies. Either way works to get the damage in. Okay, or they have the trick. -2/-2, I'm guessing. Oh. That's not a problem at all. Awesome. 2 for 1 them. We kill the bat and we kill the removal spell. Now I can Gustwalker and still have farm to mark it up, so let's do that. The Steward of Solidarity just accruing more and more value. Once they untap, it'll have been 2 mana for a 2/2 and 3 1/1s, which is an insane rate. Another Blighted Bat, alright. That one I guess will farm to market here. I guess I am still any land draw away from having the Unesh up for it, but again, they have Fan Bearer and Lord of the Accursed to be tapping down my flying blocker anyway. So let's just farm to market. None of the really important creatures are attacking anytime soon. Steward, Fan Bearer, Lord of the Accursed, they're just going to sit there. Tapped 6th land. Oof. Actually a 3/5 with Lord out, that's kind of concerning. Draw some cards here. They have 27 cards left. I have mill 12 on board. The mill is definitely an alternate strat to win later, but not going to be relevant for quite some time. What are we at? Oh, good hits. Good hits. We take the 2-spell pile. Whichever pile that is. All right. Winds of Rebuke, countervailing winds it is. Winds and winds. Flavorful pile. Yeah, I got 5 cards in grave. Countervailing winds is already just counter anything at any point. That's before I cast Winds of Rebuke when it'll super counter anything. Cartouche of Ambition. Very, very nice here. Mitigates our flyer a little bit and makes that a 4/6 lifelink, which is pretty much impossible to race. And I do not have 6 power over here. Alright, they didn't really need the Menace, but I guess now I can't chump with Sacred Cat. Sure. I guess I could block with Unesh and a bunch of other stuff. That can't be worth it, can it? Maybe when they have a fan bearer out. Thing's just not raceable. I mean, I guess as soon as I get the 5/5 hexproof, I can easily double block with like anybody else. I'll take it. Okay, we are not getting the 5/5 out. Priest and Fan Bearer, and I still have Countervailing Winds up. I can also Winds of Rebuke it and get rid of the lifelink, and then it doesn't matter much either. Actually, it might have been better to even just hold up more mana and be able to Fan Bear and still have the counter up. It probably would have been than playing in Winter Priest this early. Yeah. We mill the Wrath of God out of them? That feels good. Alright, super lucky. They did not have anything relevant to counter that turn anyway. And so they're basically playing off the top now then, so let's get this down and then hold up the counter. Okay. Spend 4 on activating 2 Fan Bearers. Still have Countervailing Winds up, so that is the play. Very, very slowly start killing them here. 5-turn clock. I should have Gust Walker attacked. I completely forgot about that thing. But I guess I'll just attack 6 next turn instead. Somewhat comparable. I mean, I'm winning the Fan Bearer lottery here. So we just keep doing that. The countervailing winds is gone. They can resolve anything they draw into now. It is crazy. The Steward of Solidarity has been 2 mana for a 2/2 and 6 1/1s, and none of those cards have done anything. Because we're just so chunky and cluttered up over here. Excuse me. Okay. That's obviously not great for me. But it's really not the end of the world. If I want to Unquenchable Thirst here, I have to Thirst the Aven. Because if I Thirst the Fan Bearer, they can attack with the Aven and untap it. Yeah, and I'd rather Thirst than Fan Bearer this turn, because it's either 2 mana tap something forever, or 2 mana tap something for a turn. Top deck is Kenra Eternal. Okay, so we've got lethal next turn. We put them to 3 right now. My stomach is angry at me. I don't know what is going on with it. All right. Just turtle up as best as we can. Find the kill next turn. There's the concession from our opponents. I think that's 2-0. These have been some grindy, long games of Magic in this return trip to Amonkhet. All right, here we are on the play for game number 3. We get to roll things out with Gustwalker starting things off. That's been pretty consistently good for us so far, so happy to have it in the opener. Pull from Tomorrow is a really good draw in the late game. You don't really want it in the opening hand because you're not going to cast it till quite late, but it is still nice to have one of the stronger cards in the deck and just know that that'll be coming up. I'm going to run out with the Labyrinth Guardian first over the Gustwalker here because we care a lot less if they have cheap removal for it. Say like the Black Trial that makes us sack a creature or something. Okay, and if they have the Black Trial, it's going to play pretty poorly for them. Unless they have the cartouches to go with it, then it'll still be pretty good. But if they don't, then we just sack the Sacred Cat and we're so fine here. It's still a great aggressive start. They are Golgari, some black-green stuff. There's Baleful Omet for us to farm here. So they don't get any life and they don't kill any of our creatures. Definitely running out every land when we've got Pull from Tomorrow in hand here. If they play around a combat trick here, I am wildly happy. Because if they just like choose not to block because they're worried about a combat trick, then I get to get all my damage in and then they crack back and I just kill the Omet anyway. That would have been pretty awesome. But they did block, so they stopped a point of damage there. Soul Stinger's kind of annoying. Fanbear's pretty decent here. I don't mind just Naga Oracling into more mana for now, though. Because I can still chip in with Gust Walker every other turn. Basically 1.5 damage a turn. Uh-oh. I like these cards. I should probably mill the 7-drop still. I will keep the Rivulet immediately. No. We just cast the Trial and draw the Rivulet. Yeah, that makes more sense. I think I can keep Trial, because draw 3 is enough that I can probably draw another land off of the Trial to make up for picking a non-land card to keep on top. Edifice of Authority, that is going to slow us down quite a bit. That's a little rough. They just use it on one of the 2/3s of the 2/4s here, and then once Gust Walker can attack, they can use it on that. Okay, we'll discard an Embalmer for sure. Playing our lands towards pull from tomorrow. Shimmerscale Drake's a nice one here. They'll have to start using it on that. It might not be the worst because Sacred Cat can embalm to just Trump attack with it to deal 2 there. Gravedigger, that's some great value. Picks up a Baleful Helmet. Very good draw. We are definitely in the market for mana. So I get to play the Drake and the Fanbearer in the same turn, and I'm at a draw 4 off of pull from tomorrow at worst. Somebody's tripping in for 2 or killing a Gravedigger here. I don't know what's happening with that double block, but I feel like I'm about to find out. Like, if they really... Oh, I guess they just wanted to trade up. Never mind. I'm dumb. I was like, yeah, the single block wouldn't have killed the Oracle, so they have to double block to kill it. Never mind. Disregard. Got the exact mana to play this priest and tap somebody with Fanbearer. I think I tap the Amonkhet during their turn to fully shut off the lifelink here. Cycle a Greater Sandworm. Rodus is Stalwart. Just a 2/2 on blocks. It can exert on attacks and get a little bigger, but that's not relevant right now. Doomfall. Wow, get rid of my pull from tomorrow? That's so rude. Okay, second fan bear is pretty legit. We're gonna gain 4 on the attack here. Should attack everybody and get 1 more point of damage in, I think. Oh, wait, they're not going to gain 4 on the attack because Fan Bearer will be usable by the time they untap. Yeah, we'll be fine. Okay, unless they do that, then they will gain the life again. Yeah, I played that out wrong. I forgot that I was going to be able to use Fan Bearer. Once they untap, they can't just like re-edifice it before I can activate it. So I should have just hit for 3 and then Fan Bear Dam it again. During their turn. All right. Still gonna be lethal through the punt, and we are, what, 3-0? Man, these games have been long, this draft. I feel like the draft should be over by now. But yeah, we are 3-0 heading into only game number 4 now. Here we are for game 4. Another slower hand, but it has 2 early pieces of removal, which is nice. Again, we don't really want pull from tomorrow in the opener, but it's a nice aspirational goal for the end of this game. Alright, I believe our opponent AFK'd for now. I'm going to have to cycle this Drake. We now have an incredible 6-drop finisher, an incredible 6 or 7-drop finisher. We need to keep hitting our land draws. It's always kind of weird when the season resets in the middle of a draft like this. Like, our mythic percent was going all over the place these first 2 games, and then now it's like we're platinum, we're playing against gold, but it's like technically, like 5 seconds ago we were mythic. They would have been diamond, I believe. But they probably still would have been AFK. Okay, they pass again. Due to AFK, we'll cycle, try to hit the land. Do not hit the land, we'll cycle Riverwinder and try to hit the land. Do not hit the land. But even if our opponent shows up now, we're a couple turns ahead in mana, so it is okay. I mean, even if I miss the land drop another turn, that's kind of just fair at this point. All right, our opponent had something come up, and they were AFK through the whole game, so we get a free win on that one, and we are 4-0 heading to game 5. All right, here we are for game number 5. Sorry, I had something going on in the background there. Let's roll out with Labyrinth Guardian, as you do. The card you care the least about getting killed by removal. Or getting countered by Essence Scatter. That would also be good value for us. Oh yeah. Very happy with that line. That worked out well for us over playing Gustwalker. We got the incredible 6-drop in hand, so we're definitely playing Desert of the True here rather than cycling it at any point later. Now here's the Gustwalker. Pulled out 1 piece of interaction from them. They could still have plenty more. I don't know if I've seen a single copy of Magma Spray anytime I've drafted red this time around. But technically, they could absolutely have Magma Spray here. We've just been unlucky to not see it. Okay, I don't mind Thirst on the wall here. The one thing that I don't love about it is that That means I'm not playing Naga Oracle this turn to really make sure that there's more lands on top so that we can consistently play Unesh early while they're stuck on mana. The fact that they are stuck on mana, though, means I'm not really concerned at all about the fact that I'm using my removal so early. It will be a little while before they play like a must-kill sort of threat in this format. Yeah, well... Great Maw plays exceptionally well against Unquenchable Thirst. That's a little frustrating. And there was really no way to anticipate that when they were on like blue-red here. I guess they did ditch it beneath the sands, but still. It's kind of like a Golgari sort of -1/-1 counter deck card. I mean, we're definitely just working our way to 6 mana, killing them in the sky here, so let's go Naga Oracle. Probably hard cast the flyer too. Uh-oh. 2 great draws in a row. They went land here. Punching below the priest, not the oracle. Alright. I mean, I guess the priest is a slightly better chumper. It's pretty fine by me. They do have a pretty big decision here between attacking or not. They know they're under pressure. So they chose not to attack, which I'm pretty happy with. Because we also have a really good late game if we just don't randomly die to gigantic Great Maw damage or something. They do have the Unquenchable Thirst for the Shimmer Scale Drake. They're tapped out of blue, so if we hit an untapped land this turn, I could have guaranteed Unesh resolves. Sadly, I didn't, though. Still get my Gustwalker damage in. I can Winds of Rebuke my Drake later, which is kind of exciting. But I'm just going to play Labyrinth Guardian for now. I don't have the mana to like pick up the Drake and immediately recast it. And I'm only 1 land draw from being able to do that, so I'm going to focus on doing that on a future turn. We're just going to play Unesh next turn. Turn after that, pick up the Drake, recast it. Just slam down a big flyer, slam down a big flyer is the plan. And they're tapped out of blue, so perfect opportunity. Slam down a big flyer, draw a bunch of cards. I guess we get farm to market. And put 3 lands in grave. Yep. There is an argument to take the lands, because we do put a market in grave if we do that. And then all of those extra lands are the cards that we can discard to the market that we're casting. I just really don't think we're in a position where we need to do that. I guess actually, come to think of it, that probably would have been better, because the other thing it opens us up to is by having that mana. If they have removal for Unesh here, we get to Winds of Rebuke the Unesh, and then also recast it this turn, which would be insane. That is pretty nice. Yeah, I kind of wish I picked up the lands here. That would have been so sick this turn. I did not see that line, but that would have been sweet. Okay. Now they can just earth and blow up the 4 toughness and less ground creatures. So we don't play a Sacred Cat. Wait, how did they get a second green? Oh, you don't need a second green for Heaven. Dang. Okay. Looks like they don't have a counter spell. I was worried about like countervailing winds here for counter unless we pay 1 for each card in their grave, but they just tap out of blue and we're fine. That's bad for our opponent. Censor and Sacred Cat are both kind of weak draws, so they just put Trial of Knowledge and the big Hexproofer in a different pile. Yeah. I really think I just need more threats than I need card advantage right now, so I like getting the 5/5 Hexproofer here. They want to Earth away a Sacred Cat alongside all this other stuff that's super fine, or throw a Magnet Spray at it, that's also super fine. Because yeah, if they do cast like Earth to kill all the non-Great Maw creatures on the ground, it means they're tapping out of doing anything about Unesh. Cool. Okay. So we kind of force their hand here. We need to get them to cast Earth before we cast the Riverwinder. So we just pressure them with the creatures we already have on board and force them to blow up all the creatures on the ground here. I probably had an earlier turn I could have done this farm attack. I just kind of forgot it works on attacks too. so used to using it against an attacking creature that I forgot about that whole thing. That's bad. I haven't discarded Rivulet. Oh no, I have. Oh, that would be our best win condition here. It'd be so good. Sifter Worm just blanks us. I think I can legitimately just concede now because I'm looking at the deck. We have a Fanbearer, a Gustwalker, a Pull from Tomorrow, an Aven, and a Countervailing Winds left. None of those cards are going to break through the worm. The Riverwinders are useless on attacks. The Fanbearer doesn't matter because they can Earth it away. I genuinely don't think we can win because we milled our Rivulet earlier. This is one of those positions where Rivulet then becomes the backup plan through their double board wipe on us, but double board wipe, 7/7, gain a bunch of life is too much. Makes them super stable here. We might have been able to win if I saw the most aggressive lines earlier. The one in particular, I think, was potentially letting the market go to the grave so that we could wins and replay that Cryo-Sphinx in the same turn. Okay, got me. Hornet Queen's one of the most busted cards in the format. 5 death-touching blockers off of 1 card, so we're definitely not breaking through at that point. Yeah, that was our one shot to maybe get the victory there. I mean, 2 opportunities, really. If I had rebuked Cryo-Sphinx and recast it by picking up all the lands, we would have gotten more damage in earlier and tried to do it that way. But then I wouldn't have access to farm to market, which would be the other place we might have been able to sneak in enough damage quickly enough, which was if I attacked on the ground more aggressively and farmed the 4/5 earlier when it declared a block. Then we might have been able to push enough damage with the ground troops. Those were the 2 different opportunities. I don't know if either stacks up into enough damage, but I think they both come pretty close. And we can't do both of those things, right? Like if I pick up the lands to pick up the Cryo-Sphinx and play it, that means farm doesn't exist. I can't destroy an attacking or blocking creature. Which means the only way to, kill the Great Mon, get that damage in, is to not end up drawing those lands instead. Yeah, it might have been able to push up enough damage, I don't know. Either way, still in an incredible position here. 4-1, heading into game 6. Here we are for game number 6. Very mediocre opener here, but I don't think I can really mulligan a hand with good mana. I've got one sensor, and then I'm just going to twiddle my thumbs for a while. We're on the draw, so I certainly can't censor the 3-1, and we're immediately under some pressure here. Cycle the River Winder. Okay, Guardian's a solid draw here. Trade into the Companion, perfectly fine. Trade into any removal spell is great. Ramp up with Beneath the Sands, sure. I don't have a 3-drop, so we can easily hold up the Censor. Yeah, Labyrinth Guardian just dramatically improved this hand. Oh yeah, trading Guardian to any card is just value. We take those. Oh sick, I can Fan Baron still hold up Censor. The draws have been pretty much perfect this game so far. 5-drop bomb, cast a Glorybringer, please. A Braid, sure. Okay. With Cryo-Sphinx coming up, I do believe I Trial of Knowledge to the mana for it. Drawing into the farm is nice. Makes me feel like I don't really get punished if they resolve some good creature this turn. And Entangler's way too cheap for us to have censored anyway. Here's the Priest to force them to exert if they want to get that in. Struggle it, sure. Comes back from the grave anyway if they don't shuffle our graves back in. And that is one less struggle they could use on the gigantic flyer. Oh, we're so golden. They have a single 2-1 on this board. That's mana 6. Thank you, Censor. Here's Unesh. To seal the deal for us. They just give us everything. Fair enough. I'll take it all. Well, I'm hitting for 4 in the sky every turn. I have a bajillion cards in hand, and I can just keep recasting creatures from the grave for now. Feels about as locked up as it can get here. I need 3 mana up. I've got 7, so I can bomb 1 card, hold up Countervailing Winds. They can see the Countervailing Winds, but that's not going to let them resolve anything regardless. Even if they know it's there. That doesn't mean they're going to be able to cast a good 4 or 5-drop. I mean, it's counter unless they pay 6, so I think even 3 mana plays? Yeah, I can even counter 3 mana plays right now. Cycle Desert of the Indomitable. Collected Company, sure, counter that. Shuffle everybody back in. Exert the Entangler, I'm guessing. Alright, Companion for Priest is a great trade. Down to 16. And we are bashing over here. Here's Naga Oracle. Set up our draws. Mill any lands. Goodbye Island. Goodbye Censor. Keep the big Hexproofer. Got Winds of Rebuke and Censor up. Probably cycle this desert at this point. GG from opponent. Not over till they scoop them up. So I'll wait a moment here. If I bounce one of their cards with Winds, that is lethal on board. But it isn't lethal until I do that. I hit for 4 in the sky, they go chump chump. Survive for another turn. Go to the end step, we'll try to get lethal here. Alright, swing all. That is lethal. 5-1. Heading into game number 7. Alright, game 7. We're 5-1 now. We get to start off with Gustwalker. We are on the draw, so it's not going to be the most impressively aggressive play, but it's going to be solid. Playing against a red deck, Rakdos it is. Start with a Burning Fist Minotaur. Gustwalker just never attacks into that without exerting. And Countervailing Winds is just not going to be viable unless we get some cards engraved. So by Windsing this Burning Fist Minotaur, I get 3 cards engraved, and then I can Countervailing Winds next turn. And all they do is just replay the Minotaur. Or play a Counter Scrapper instead, that works too. Okay. Ooh. Now I have turn 4 Trial of Knowledge, turn 5 Gustwalker Cartouche, pick up the Trial. And it takes some damage for that. Taking 2 a turn on each of those turns. But I've got time to do that if I counter their next play here. If they don't have like double 2-drop to cast, so I'm hoping they don't. Let's see. I definitely have to tap out for this because I'm not going to have the mana up for the counter next turn. I kind of have to Trial. Alright, they did have double 2-drop. That's kind of brutal. We do have a Censor. Could Gustwalker hold up Censor? I can also do that the turn after the Trial. I'm going to Trial it up, take 4, go to 14. Still fine. Can I wait on a 7-drop at this point? I've got Cartouche and Trial towards drawing more lands, so I guess we just keep land 5. This is Rakdos. I don't think Rivulet is gonna matter. I don't need double white with this hand, so I'm gonna keep Rivulet. Just because like our one loss was because we did not have the backup Rivulet. For if they managed to like super stabilize the board like they did. So again, it really doesn't look like a game that's going to go long, but just in case it does, we can keep Rivulet. And this way I could play Drake instead if I want. They only have a single black mana up here. If I play Drake instead, then if I draw land 6, I can play Gustwalker and Censor. Or sorry, Gustwalker and Cartouche and hold up Censor. But I can also go Fan Bearer, Cartouche, and hold up Censor, which is also good. I think I do that here. Because this holds up the Wasp of the Bitter End and keeps Censor up. Cool. Wasp of the Bitter End was a weird one to put into the main set, because this was from the Bolas Planeswalker deck. There's only one Bolas in this format. It feels like a little strange to me to throw that in there. Their Rakdos, they can find removal for Fanbear quickly enough. I think I should trade it off. I'm also not in a position to be holding up 2 every single turn for that thing, so I'm just going to trade the Bone Picker. Entangler. And they go to pass. Go to return. Labyrinth Guardian. Walker, Guardian, and Censor. The Censor's just pretty bad against a really low curve deck like this Rakdos build. Like maybe I'm supposed to just Drake there, but it's like double creaturing instead of single creaturing also, so it's not just about holding up the Censor here. Alright, they likely have a combat trick here, but I don't really have a choice. I take 9 and go to 3 if I don't do any blocks here, so pray that they don't. They don't. We actually get the kill there, and they pass turn. Stupid Censors, I swear. Alright, so Entangler stays tapped. So we just play the blocker for the flyer, force removal on that. Probably cycle a Censor here. Unquenchable Thirst, that's legit. I should have cycled before I cast anything else. I was going to cycle anyway. Because I probably would rather have thirsted the Wasp there. Because that's first strike while it's attacking, and it's got prowess. If that gets buffed at all, that's an issue. But if I lose my one flyer, then that Wasp is a big issue. Thirst. The Wasp, I think. Gilded Ceradon with the 1-up for Censor. It shuts off a blocker each turn. But it can't target Riverwinder, but I can't find the Riverwinder mana. I guess I could have cycled Censor there still. Any land off the top and I can trial plus farm. The odds have got to be really high at this point. I have 1, 2, 3 lands in grave. 6 on board, that's 9 lands. So out of these 17, there are 8 lands. 8 out of 17 is tiny bit less than half, but I'm digging 3 cards deep. It's almost a 50-50 on each card. Basically, I have to lose 3 coin flips to not have farm up. And if so, I have sensor up at least. I do desperately need farm up to live, but I also desperately need to play Riverwinder next turn. I'm doing it. Give me the land. Perfect. Please don't removal off the top. If they had it sooner, Drake would have been dead sooner. Just let me untap. That's all I need. Ah. That is incredibly good removal off the top because it doesn't even cost anything. Usually they have to make their board worse. We just exert here and our blocks suck. I'm entering the tilt zone. I can lose a Gust Walker for almost nothing, or I could die to an open fire. If they had an open fire, they would have killed Gustwalker and that would have guaranteed lethal. They would shoot that for 3, that gets prowess, and I take 7 here. If they have open fire and they didn't shoot Gustwalker, they gave me a chance to not die. Yeah, I'm not gonna play around the open fire here. The thing about chumping here is like they definitely don't have open fire in hand right now, but like this is playing around them top decking it later, which is also really, really possible. Yeah. Okay. Gain me 18 bit of life, please, friend. Thank you. I think I should have been cycling sensors more aggressively this game. There's not been any point where it's been relevant. So we could have found our mana sooner and been at a healthier life total trying to stabilize instead of this really sketchy position we've ended up in. But there you go. Unesh kind of just solves problems. Can mill them 8. Puts them to 11 cards. We're gonna mill out first. I don't have any deserts left in this deck, do I? I have 1 desert left in the deck, so I can mill them 12. They're at 7 cards. If I cast Unesh, that's milling me 4. I have 7 cards. Okay, they mill slightly faster if I never cycle again after I play this Unesh, so that's the plan. I do have to pick up the desert here in order to make sure that they mill slightly faster than me if I can't find lethal otherwise. Because, right, if I milled them 12 right now, which I could do between desert, rivulet, and the other desert, they'd have 7 cards in deck. They get a draw step. I have 7 cards in deck right now, but my draw step is after their draw step, so I have to take the desert pile here so that I have enough mill for them to mill out before me. And now I can't cycle anything ever again, so think I might as well hold up a sensor. Even though it's so absurdly unlikely to do anything. I could just play the cat later. It's not like I need to get rid of the cat's summoning sickness this turn or anything like that. Combat. Start doing the thing. Pretty soon we might be confident enough to start attacking with a River Winder as well. I am not that confident yet. If they Hour of Devastation us, that'd be pretty bad. I think if they had it, they would have done it last turn, so we don't hit them with Unesh at all. Because they're already killing 2 5/5s with Hexproof and a 4/4 flyer. Alright, well, I basically censored a Doomfall, I guess. Good enough. Oh, there's Bantu's Last Reckoning as well. Yeah, I forgot this format has 5,000 board wipes. I completely forgot that there was a black board wipe too. That's obviously rough, but we could still mill them out before we die because we have 1,000 blockers here off of all of our Embalm. And they don't get to... They basically don't get to play anything next turn because all their lands stay tapped. Like, obviously I'm not killing them in the sky anymore, but they aren't killing me either. I think I keep the Labyrinth Guardian in there, chilling, hanging out. In case they have the Reckoning and the Hour of Devastation. Man, if I get open fired now... That'd be the worst. Oh, I've got the double lifelink. I can't get open fired still. I'm fine. That is not castable in the slightest. They have 3 cards left. We have 4 cards left. As long as I can live for 4 more turns. Let me double check that I don't have more deserts in my deck. Yeah, there are no more deserts to draw into, so we sack it now. New a Dread Wanderer. Obviously cannot cast Market or Pull from Tomorrow here. They have 3 attacks to kill us. Dread Wanderer might clutch up and get it for them. If I miss on these draw steps, don't find some kind of blocker. Well, they don't attack. Okay, I have 3 cards left. I can tell exactly what they are. Based on what we've drawn and what's engraved, we have, according to Untapped, 2 planes and an Anointer Priest. So we just want Anointer Priest as the only draw we want. As long as that Anointer Priest isn't the bottom card, I think we win. Got to survive 2 attacks. I don't know why they didn't attack with Thresher Lizard last turn, but I'm really, really happy they didn't. Oh, I guess because then we could send the Lifelinkers back at them, I suppose. Sweet Jesus. Buff the Wanderer and kill a blocker of ours. So good for our opponents. If I kill the Dread Wanderer, they just replay it. So I have to go chump the Lizard. Stop that damage, take 3. I gain 1, take 3. I'm at 6, take 3, I'm at 3. 3 life with 1 creature on board against 3 attackers. I have to top deck exactly Anointer Priest. If Anointer Priest isn't the bottom card of my deck, I can win. If it is the bottom, I just lose. Unless they drew another creature, then I lose, period. Oh my god, man. That's so tilting. I could draw it and then mill out first because I drew it. We had Land Priest as the last 3 cards in the deck, and as long as Priest wasn't the bottom one, we would win this game. Alright, whatever. We mill out first. Great. Ay, ay, ay. That's magic. At least, like, open fire me or removal spell one of my creatures so that I know I would have lost even if I drew the Priest. Nope. Would have won. Would have won with exactly 1 life. God. Feels bad, man. Well, that's 5-2, heading into game number 8. Here we are for game number 8. If we lose this is our last game. We are 5-2, so 1 loss away from defeat. We're on the draw with 3 uncastable spells because we have no white sources in the hand. Feels like too much of a gamble on our potential last game here. If I don't draw planes, it's gonna be our last game, period. I mean, out of all the blue spells we could possibly have, Labyrinth Guardian is 2 spells. It's the 2-drop and the 4-drop. Arena, take the wheel. Alright, we have 2 spells. They start with Desert Ceradon, gets cycled. Red-green deck, there's Battlefield Scavenger. Here's our 2-3 to hold that off. Oh my god, Trial of Knowledge digs far and wide for the white source. There's Counter Scrapper, Weaken Winds of Rebuke to slow them down here and buy us more time. There's a River Winder I get to cycle here. I should have cycled before I played the land. That could have affected my play. If we hit a tapped white source, I would have played that instead of the island here. But I hit a Countervailing Winds, which doesn't change anything, because I couldn't have had that up. Send the Scrapper. I'm going to wait to see what they cast. If they play a good 4-drop, we bounce that instead. If they don't, we bounce the Scrapper. Cool. Oh, I milled my really good draw spell, but at least I didn't mill any white sources. We're 14 cards deep, 0 white sources in sight, and no 4th mana for Trial of Knowledge. I think I have to hold up Countervailing Winds. If they cast anything good, we counter it, and if they don't, we cycle it, trying to hit land 4 to cast Trial next turn. Actually, they are going to cast something good. I kind of have to pop Countervailing Winds on this Scrapper here. I've hit 3 lands all game, and we're 14 cards deep, so the odds of hitting a land are getting decently high here. And it doesn't matter what color it is, we'll just play Trial of Knowledge off of it. And then use the Trial to find the second color. Yeah, I need to keep that thing off me. Potential 4 power Menacer on swings. The draw is the Plains. Beautiful. Beautiful. They have a single 2/1 to poke me with that I can just hold off with my 2/3, so we can afford to spend the turn drawn cards here. Shove the Sacred Cat and Grave. Beautiful draws. Yeah, just to bomb that Sacred Cat seems fine. Watchful Naga. Very good synergy with the Scavenger. They can attack with it, draw 1, discard 1, draw a second card. Because this triggers off of every creature that exerts. 3 tapped white sources in a row. Well, I'm obviously playing 1 spell then. I think I go Fanbearer. We didn't mill our Cryosphinx, did we? No, so we still have a bomb in here somewhere. Censor the open fire. Keep the Fanbearer on board. Honestly, it's not the scariest thing ever. It's not completely necessary to counter the open fire in terms of like making sure it doesn't resolve, but it's more that making sure that we actually get to counter something with Censor is pretty important. Like, I couldn't have countered this Cartouche here. Oh, wow. Pathmaker Initiate Watchful Naga is also really good. Yeah, I wish I didn't mill my removal for that thing. The Unquenchable Thirst got milled. Farm to Market's still in there somewhere. Shimmer Scale Drake is the draw. So now I have all 6 lands out that I need if we draw into the Cryosphinx. I can double spell some little white dorks, or I can just play the big Drake. Double spell's better at blocking Scrapper immediately. Man, this Battlefield Scavenger is putting in work here. Because they just get to attack and exert the Scrapper, discard a land, draw a card, no matter how I play it. My blocks aren't going to be great for that. They get to trade this up into a Shimmer Scale Drake. Or into the Cat Gustwalker. I think I just play around that a little. Oh wait, no, it's even worse because the Pathmaker initiates value here. Shoot. Okay, I'm gonna hedge in between those two plays then. And go Gustwalker, Fanbear, because I think they're just gonna make Canro Scrapper unblockable and then exert it. Discard a card, draw a card, and hit me for 4. Yeah, so it just doesn't even matter what I put out here. But by putting out the Fanbearer, I can try to stop some of their exert value in the future. Oh, they don't even exert. Cool. Oh, well, not cool, because that means they like both of the spells in their hand. Yep, one's a Gilded Ceradon. It's gonna be harder to Fanbear down a Watchful Naga when they've got a Ceradon out. They don't have a Desert in their grave. Okay, hold up. That's just a 4/4 with no abilities. I kind of have to Cryo Sphinx as much as I want to Fanbear tap something. Yeah, Watchful Naga's going all the way to Value Town here, but what are you gonna do? So I basically get a Dauntless Haven or a Naga Oracle. Sensor just doesn't matter. I don't even think Naga Oracle matters on this board much, because almost all their attacks are just going to be unblockable right now anyway. I think I'm taking the Aven pile. Got as much flying damage as possible, because Aven plus Gustwalker means I can exert swing with it every turn. So if I can buy time for long enough, I can kill them in the sky. But that's going to be really difficult the way this board is looking. Alright, please don't have a combat trick here. I'm way too behind on board and in life totals to not be blocking here. Okay, they definitely have an instant for right now, but it could be just a cycling card, you know, like a Greater Sandworm or something. You can't know for sure in this format. They probably have something, but there's not much else I can do. I literally can't block this. My only options are to double block one of these and get destroyed by a combat trick, or chump block one of these when none of these are good blockers, good chumpers anyway. In fact, am I under so much pressure I have to just throw Unesh into the trash? Probably am. I don't think I'm going to do that though, because I just don't have a win con without Unesh. Like if they got me, they got me. Yeah, if I throw Unesh in the trash, they're just going to keep grinding out Naga scavenger value, and I'm going to be sitting here with like a 3/4 flyer. Alright, we just pray. So the Unesh in the trash play would be Guardian and the 2/2 on the Scrapper and the Unesh on the Ceradon. Oh my god. Their draws off the exerts just made none of the plays good at all. Alright, well, I'm pretty sure they got me then. But 5 and 3 is a better record than I thought we'd get out of this deck. This is a really average deck. Last couple packs were just super weak. Started off great. Unesh, bunch of good white cards, and then just kind of dried up through the rest of the draft there. So very average deck, slightly above average record here. In the money on the draft, not a bad spot to end it off on this one. If it does end here, which looks highly likely. Because, yeah, now all their stuff is untapped for the excerpts. They've got 2 power creatures on board to get going with Pathmaker Initiate. There's nothing I can do about that. Well, okay, that's a lie. That's a lie. So they have to Pathmaker Initiate something before that creature declares an attack, and then I can Fanbear whatever they target with the Initiate. Ah, what's so awkward here is because they're all instant speed, they can just be like, all right, go to combat. And now, if I try to Fanbear Gilded Ceradon, they can respond to that play by then Pathmaker initiating a Kenra Scrapper to get in for 4. But if I don't Fanbear the Ceradon, they can just say, okay, we're in combat now. I'm attacking with the Gilded Ceradon. So we're damned if we do, damned if we don't. Yeah. Get got by instant speed abilities here. I think if they attack all, we're just probably dead. But if I Fanbear Ceradon, I'm going to 2 with absolutely no options to stop that. So the unblockability. Let's just dig through the whole deck over there. I guess if I could somehow survive a couple swings, I have Rivulet Mill now. If we can sack 3 deserts, I've got a ton of deserts over here. In case they do get the unblocked Naga in. Okay. 3-4 on the 3-3. Oh, I gotta put this on this one. I can't block that with my smaller creatures. I can go 2-3 and 1-1 on that 3-3. 1-2 and 2-1 on that 4-3. That is all I've got. Yeah, we're not surviving long enough to mill them out here. I go to 5 off of this. I still have my 3-4 and a cat. Or my 3-4 and a 2-3. That's better. Another Battlefield Scavenger. And an Entangler. I mean, they had the full-on Scavenger pop off. What am I expecting? They drew 1,000,000 cards off the discard plus draw. Did they hit a desert yet? Are they a 0 desert Ceradon deck? That would be wild. They still have no desert in their grave. So this is still just a 5-mana 4-4. Man, I got to double cycle and I still didn't find a block. Have I played Winds of Rebuke yet? Yeah. I can't draw into that. I was going to say, if I draw into Winds of Rebuke, then if I survive this turn, I win. Because I mill them 4 now, and they're down to 6. I untap, I mill them another 4. They're down to 2, and then Winds of Rebuke is the final 2. But I have already played Winds of Rebuke, or milled it at some point. I think, I used it early to slow down the Scrapper, stop some damage there. I'm assuming with how long this is waiting, we're not dead. And I go to 1 life this turn. Because attack all puts me to 1, or unblockable Entangler. Well, no, unblockable Entangler does not put me to 1. If they draw 2 cards here, if they discard a card, draw a card, discard a card, draw a card, and then don't kill me, I could still mill them out. Oh, they didn't exert Scavenger, and they chose not to draw a card. Alright, well, we definitely don't mill them out then. Go to 1. Is the play. Another Ceradon. I'm gonna lose it if I mill them 8 and they still have no deserts. Zero deserts. Oh, they had a struggle to survive the whole time. I mean, it still wouldn't have mattered if I drew into like a Winds of Rebuke, but I don't have a second Winds in this deck. Because it's sorcery speed, so they'd have 0 cards in their deck regardless. It would be too late if I had the mill right here. But now I definitely, even if I somehow survived here, because I don't have the full mill, they just cast Survive. And they're fine. I just want to see their deck. They have no deserts. Unless they're in the bottom 2 cards of their deck. Please cut the Gilded Ceradons in the future, then. That is my one request. Alright. We are 5 and 3. I mean, they were 4/4s. That was relevant. But I imagine there were slightly better creatures on rate to find if they have no deserts. Anyways, we are 5 and 3 for the final record of this draft. A fine way to end off the return trip to Amonkhet. The return trip, the vacation return trip this time around. Yeah, not bad at all. 6-3 and 5-3 for the vacation Amonkhet draft. Very, very positive record. That's a really good record for this deck, honestly. I do think it could have done a little bit better. Like, we were just like one slightly different draw from winning away in like 2 of our losses. The second loss was the particularly brutal one where I just needed Anointer Priest above the lands at any point. Just as long as it wasn't the exact bottom card of the deck, we could have won that one. That was the most brutal loss. But even that last game, if we drew things in a slightly different order, we might have been able to mill them fast enough. Although if they drew things in a slightly different order, they would have had struggle way sooner, and then we definitely couldn't have milled them. So that one was not as bad as the second loss, but I think these were still games where the deck looked a lot stronger than I thought it did. Like, strong enough that I think this was actually capable of 7 winners, so 5 and 3 is still a really, really solid record here, though. And we grabbed 1,600 gems and 4 packs very far in the money to end off these Amonkhet drafts. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. And other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.